What's up, guys? My name is Zach, and for the last 4 days, I've been driving the 2024 Jeep Compass Limited. Up front is a 2.0-liter turbocharged inline-4, and down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be making this video because this has been my loaner vehicle for my time here in North New Jersey and out on Long Island, New York. I have spent several hundred miles up and down the Garden State Parkway in this little Jeep Compass, and I have plenty of thoughts to share with you about it here today. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 2-liter turbo under the hood. Well, that's a decently bread and butter engine for Jeep and Stellantis at this point. I'll put the horsepower up on the screen. They've been using this type of engine for quite some time, at least the last 10 to 15 years, and I like it. I like the power that comes from it. Reliability is questionable and up in the air, but again, I have to give this assessment on what I experienced, and what I experienced was a decent amount of passing power, especially on Route 17 here in Paramus, that came quite in handy. Like I said, paired to it is an 8-speed automatic. Again, shifting nice and quietly, it's doing the job, and I don't have any complaints from my time with it. Last but not least, this is 4-wheel drive, as most Jeeps are. How does it feel to drive the Jeep Compass? Feels good. It feels a little bit larger than it is, but I've enjoyed the highway cruising in it. I think the power is adequate enough, and overall, I think it's a pretty good package. We'll talk more about that towards the final thoughts. But with that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a completely digital gauge cluster. To the bottom left is my coolant temperature, and to the bottom right is my fuel. Those stay, but you can switch the screen around to show you other information. Jeep and Stellantis has always been pretty good about giving you a lot of information in these vehicles, so that's no news here for the Compass. On the steering wheel, on the left, we have our selectors for that gauge cluster screen, as well as our phone options. And off to the right, we have our adaptive cruise, along with traditional cruise. So you can use traditional cruise control or adaptive cruise, which gets a little confusing. The adaptive cruise is good while cruising, but it's not very good at stop and go. It was very jerky with stop and go. Now, to be fair, I was in North Jersey and people drive like they're trying to cut your head off, so the car did have to slam on its brakes quite a bit, but it did it in opportunities that I personally probably wouldn't have slammed the brakes. So it's just not the cleanest, best system, but at least it works, and it does work in stop and go. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent and our headlight switches along with the gauge dimmer switches. And moving on to the door, we have 2 levels of memory seats, power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we do have our Uconnect touchscreen system, and I like it for the most part. As you'll see as I switch through the pages, it is a touch laggy. It's a little bit slow, and this is filmed in real time. This was not slowed down. The mapping system's great. It does have wireless Apple CarPlay, which is wonderful, and it is hooked up to the Alpine sound system, which I think is pretty good at this price point. One of the best, if I do say so myself. Here's the backup camera, which has been helpful. However, it does stay on for quite some time after you start moving forward. And what I don't like is that the heated and ventilated seats are ran through the screen. So I thought that this vehicle didn't have heated or ventilated seats for the first day and a half I had it. And then I discovered that it's actually in the touchscreen. It's kind of annoying, and I don't like that. Down below, we do have physical buttons for our automatic start-stop, our traction control, lane departure warning, and our parking sensors along with hazard switch, 2 climate control vents, and then the climate controls themselves. Dual zone climate, which is very nice to see. However, there is no physical sync button. In order to sync the 2 climate controls, you have to use the touchscreen and go through a climate menu. Really wish that I just had a sync button, but that's okay. Otherwise, they've been fantastic in doing the job. Down below, we do have 2 USBs, 1 USB-A and 1 USB-C, along with a big cubby and the shifter. The shifter is very typical Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Chrysler, and it works. That's it. It works. Off to the right, we have our power parking brake, and we have our drive modes for snow and sand/mud. These are basically 4-wheel drive modes, as well as down below, we have a 4-wheel drive lock mode. Then we do have cup holders. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the Jeep Compass, and I'm going to give it a pass, but somewhat begrudgingly, because it is a very, very tight squeeze, but I was able to get the bottle in and out, and it firmly holds the bottle, so at the end of the day, it actually does work out. I'm not super happy about it, but it is a pass. Then we do get a center console with nothing in it, and the seats. The seats are heated, ventilated, power, and memory, and I really enjoyed them. Of all my travels, of all my time in them, they haven't hurt my back, and I've been fine. So very nice to see that. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2024 Jeep Compass, and a couple of things to note. First of all, I fit back here. My knees are not hitting the seat in front of me, my head's not hitting the ceiling, and actually, I didn't even open this up all the way. So we do get a pretty decent sky roof here in the Compass, which is really, really nice, especially for this size of SUV. The CX-5 doesn't come with anything like this, so definitely nice to see that. I do have a center console as well, 2 cup holders in there. We have vents back here, very nice to see, and a USB-A and USB-C charger, along with a 12-volt outlet all the way down below. So a lot of amenities here in the back seat, which I'm happy to see. However, speaking of space and light and things like that, let's hop into the very back and take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space. All right, around the back of the Compass Limited, little button in there. It's not actually a handle, it's actually just a button. And once we are back here, we do have some amenities. I like this little Jeep logo in the speaker. Find that to be really, really nice. We also do have this little mat. We could pull this up, and we get tons of storage down there where your spare tire would be if you option one. The spare tire is an option. We also do have cubbies down here. We have what appears to be where a 12-volt outlet would be, but we don't get it. And we do have the tailgate button here, so press that once and it will lower the tailgate of the Jeep Compass. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I actually like the look of the Compass. I know it's somewhat controversial, but it does kind of look like a baby Grand Cherokee, which I think looks sweet. I really like the silver with the black accents. I think overall it's a pretty good looking SUV, and I actually got compliments on it. I'm not kidding. I got compliments on this Jeep Compass because of how it looks. So that is a big feather in the cap of the Jeep Compass. However, with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think, having driven the Jeep Compass for the last couple of days? Well, it's been great. Here's the thing. I do worry about the mechanics of this car a little bit. From what I've seen in the past, Jeeps, especially the smaller Jeeps that aren't the Wranglers, tend to do a little bit worse in terms of reliability. But as a review from my time in which I've spent with the car, I can't find anything that I really truly hate. I don't like the screen, the touch screen for the heated and ventilated seats. Don't love that. But I like the way it drives. I like the way it looks. I like the technology in here. I like the sound system. I like the sunroof. I like the 4-wheel drive and its capabilities. I like it. I really genuinely like this car. As a little daily, I like it. Now, I do think that there are other good options for the $41,000 price tag, but this is also the Limited. You can find these for a lot more affordable prices, although, again, the features are kind of what drew me to this car, so I would get the Limited, but I understand that $41,000 is quite a bit to ask for from a lot of people, but you could be the judge of that. Lease one of these, enjoy it for a couple of years. It's going to be a great car, and you're going to enjoy driving it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Stellantis for letting me borrow and use their vehicle as a rental car for my time here in North Jersey. Stellantis and Kelly in particular are fantastic, and also shout out to Pierre for making all of this happen. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.